will make it okay. But what's going to be even more interesting than that is I've seen some people already talking about their favorite Tetris blocks and whatnot, and it sounds like we're ready for some hecking Tetris with Charlotte. So let's talk about some Tetris and not about how I forget how to walk on occasion.
All right. Hi, everybody. This is Tetris, the Grandmaster. Today, we're going to be playing a little bit of a weird mode. Normally, when you're playing Tetris at a high level, you kind of look in the periphery vision to see what piece is coming next based on the color. But with a little code, right up, CBA, we're going to be playing in mono mode today. So the pieces are going to be all gray, which is going to make it a little more difficult to place the pieces, like to know where they're going to look. My eyes are going to be darting around a lot more than they would normally. I forgot to give the countdown. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I think we could just add to the time, but luckily you do have a timer on there, so.
True.
At the start of the run, we kind of play Tetris in a very strange way because instead of keeping everything really low, close to the bottom of the screen, we're actually going to be building up a bit. This is because to get Grandmaster, it's more than just getting points. It's more than just getting to the very end of the game, getting to level 999. You actually have to meet some pretty tight time requirements, which is great because we were already planning on going fast. But the pieces can only fall so fast at the very early levels of the game. So keeping the piece stack as high as possible means they have less distance to travel in order to get those lines cleared. So you'll see that kind of process of building the stack up and then, clearing Tetrises to pull it down. We do prefer Tetrises, obviously, because they're more points, but also because line clears take a comparably high amount of time, so clearing more of them at the same time is better. Speaking of line clears, we actually need one right now because we are level stopped at 99. Yep. This game will only progress the next level every 100 levels if you clear a line. Every other time, just a piece will give you a level. So making sure that we don't get level stopped for too long is another thing we do to keep our time down. Tetrises, triples, that's kind of what we're looking for. Mostly Tetrises in these early levels, keeping the stack high. We really do have a lot of time. This will change later on, but yeah, so the game has a few different checks throughout the full run, but the final thing that we're aiming for is lower than 13 minutes and 30 seconds. If we can finish the game with that time with a grade of S9, then we will get Grandmaster, as long as we've met the intermediate time requirements, which come... One of them is at S4. We have to get S4 before level 500 and before, I think, 6.5 or 7 minutes?
7.5 minutes.
7.5 minutes, yeah. So really, a lot of this is just playing quickly and playing well. It's not a lot of... We're not as concerned about, keeping our Tetris efficiency very high like we would in some other later games to the series, like Tetris the Grandmaster, the Absolute Plus, or Tetris the Grandmaster 3, or the latest one, Tetris the Grandmaster, the Absolute I, Tetris the Grandmaster 4. Those games all have some very... it's basically... Every other game is harder to get Grandmaster in than this one, both because the game itself is a bit harder and the requirements for Grandmaster are a bit tighter. So you can see we're up to level 270 at this point. We're still trying to keep the stack pretty high. The game is still pretty slow. The pieces aren't really moving that fast. They will get much faster, but we're not there yet. Level 500 is kind of when the piece speed will cap out.
I was worried there. I'm glad I got out of that one.
Yep. And so onward we move. We're now at level 300. Every 100 levels, it changes up the background. It's one of the fun things about these games. It sort of follows a very abstract representation of the journey of life, which is probably core to Tetris in some way. You'll start to see a pattern sort of emerge with the way that we're building the stack. Instead of just building it high and sort of worrying about keeping it sort of making sure we have that very right side of the screen open. We'll start to do what you're seeing now, where there's like a mound in the center. And this is because as the pieces start to come down, they will reach the stack sooner. So by having a sort of triangle facing upwards, we can land on the top of it and then slide down, because you can't slide up. It's not possible. 399, level stopped again. Another line clear, just a single, just to keep the game moving, to keep the levels going along.
T-spin, woohoo. Everybody cheer for T-spin.
We love T-spins. As far as the actual, we call it the well, which is the hole at the very right side of the screen. That is a pretty standard thing to do in most Tetrises. It's to do with how the pieces themselves rotate. So if you think about the pieces as like physical objects moving in space on the board, most of the pieces are 3 wide, with the exception of the O piece, which cannot rotate, and the I piece. The I piece is, of course, the most crucial one for getting Tetrises. It's the only one you can do that with. So making sure the I piece gets where it's going is very important. Because the I piece has 4 pieces going wide, it has a rotation point, depending on the game, either on the center left or center right tile. And this makes certain rotations possible on one side of the screen, but not the other. So building that well on the right side of the screen and really doing our best to keep it there really does just make getting that eyepiece where it's going really easy. So we're now at level 500. The piece speed has maximum velocity at this point. Every single piece that appears will be moving at least 20 blocks from the instant it appears on screen, which means that it will instantly hit the bottom of the screen regardless of where the stack is. We are no longer keeping it towards the top of the screen on purpose. It's just clearing points, trying to keep as few singles as possible. We're all speed at this point.
All about the speed.
All
I do still want to play mostly to try and get Tetrises, because again, that line clear animation, it lasts the same amount of time whether you clear 1 line or 4, so better to clear more lines at the same time.
Yep. And it really is a very tight time requirement. She makes it look very easy, but it is absolutely very tight for anyone who, wants to try this casually and can get to level 999.
Yeah, the first time I beat
minutes.
this game, like the first time I got to level 999, it took me over 15 minutes compared to the GM requirement of 13.5 minutes. So it's quite a bit of a hill to climb even after you can survive to the end.
Absolutely. There's sort of a concept we refer to as the GM waiting room, which is you can get to 999 with some level of consistency. Your speed, like the pace that you can keep throughout the game, is generally on pace to get there. You just haven't pulled off a run yet. And that's sort of one of the things that we talk about when we look at that. Moving up, S6, 675. Keeping good pace.
S7.
Another Tetris, S7. Probably hit S8 sometime in the next 100 or so, and then just need to hit S9 before the end of the game. clearing out the level stop again. Really, that is the most important thing whenever it happens, because you cannot gain levels as long as that happens, and gaining levels is what keeps us moving forward. So, the background's changed again. We've now got some sort of spiky representations of what could be some very basic microorganisms, who knows? It's all very abstract, very interesting, very related to Tetris, these backgrounds.
Yeah, I think the idea they're going for is like it's all about evolution, and you kind of evolve as a player through your time in Tetris the Grandmaster.
Yeah, I would say that's absolutely an accurate statement for the Tetris the Grandmaster experience. Play the game more. You get to see more of the game because it does not go easy on you. And getting through like every 100 levels that you can do is always, it feels like such a feat. Cleaning up a bit of a mess right now on the stack. Our real troublemaker is that hole in the middle. Holes in the middle are the hardest to clear because you naturally want to put things in the middle, which means you're constantly putting new things on top of the hole you've made, which just makes it so much more difficult to fulfill. But being able to clear it is really what makes the what really separates a Grandmaster from the rest of us. Very well cleaned up. Just some garbage on the edges now. So we're making our way through the 800s. We've already got S9, so we really are just shooting for time at this point. We're at 870, almost 11 minutes. So she'll have about 2.5 minutes to get through the 900s, which is really a lot of time. She's been on such a good pace this whole time that the final stretch of it is really going to be it's just going to be the game challenging her. At 900 now, with a little over 2 minutes to go in order to make the GM requirement. Really just locked in, focused up, nothing more to it, just got to play good Tetris, keep the middle sort of built up, keep the right side clear so we can score Tetrises. We've made such a good pace at this point that it would be honestly impressive if we managed to not get below 1330 at this point. 950, still the stack in pretty good shape. Keeping things moving along. Charlotte is wholly focused on just clearing lines and putting down pieces, making sure that there's not too much of a mess. You don't have to keep things clean the whole way through. You just need to get to the end of the game by the time is within the limit. 91, 92. Time will be coming up here.
Yes!
Time.
I just want to take a moment to call out the background and how you said it's evolution, and now there's like a baby?
Yep.
We're born anew now that we have accomplished the Grandmaster grade. By the way, fun fact for anyone at home, they make you play through the credits. It doesn't give you like more grade or anything. This is just purely like a victory lap. But if you hold the start button, the credits actually scroll faster. So if you want to like race your way to enter your initials, you're so eager, you can just hold down the start button and you'll get there a little faster. Now, because we're playing on mono mode, we entered like what essentially the game considers a cheat mode to play like this. So we don't enter our initials, but still, that was a Grandmaster grade. I'm very happy to have achieved that here live. Literally, I got into Tetris Grandmaster through a GDQ. Ooh, whoops. And it's like a dream come true to get a GM grade live here.
And now we're just demonstrating what a throw looks like.
Yeah.
Showing off all the pieces of the colors.
Yeah, you know, just in case we saw them in black and white that whole time, so there you go. That's what they look like in color.